In a place that's as southern as this, you don't expect to find a New England connection. But believe it or not, there is a northern connection to some of the flora that you find here. This is a good example. This is an Atlantic White Cedar. It's essentially the same Atlantic White Cedar that we find growing in places like New England and the New Jersey pine barrens down into eastern North Carolina. But it's highly disjunct here in the Gulf coastal plain of Florida, meaning it's a great distance away from its center of distribution. And in fact, the Atlantic white cedars here in this part of Florida are sometimes considered their own subspecies, Henry's Atlantic white cedar. It looks a lot like an eastern red cedar, but when these cones that it's producing are mature, they'll be brown and dry. They won't be berry-like at all, like a cedar. So an incredible tree, and actually one that was really important as a wood resource early on in colonial America, and essentially was mostly logged out throughout the Northeast. Just kind of cool to see that we have things here whose roots extend to the north. And you know what? It's not the only thing. Right over here is one of the neatest, and it's actually a carnivorous plant. Take a look at this. We have a pretty strong population here of what looks at first sight to be a purple pitcher plant. A pitcher plant just like the yellow pitcher plant here, same genus, Sarracenia. This one was for a long time considered to be the same species as the one that occurs in the Great Lakes states in New England, up in eastern Canada. But today, recent work has shown that this is a different lineage genetically than the northern purple pitcher plant. Matter of fact, this one is distinct enough that today it's considered its own species, Sarracenia Rosia, endemic here to the East Gulf coastal plain. So again, maybe a population of the northern pitcher plant that got stranded here during past climate change situations and has adapted and changed here in the panhandle of Florida to become its own unique nascent species. The trapping mechanism on this pitcher plant, the rosy pitcher plant, is essentially the same as what you find in the northern purple pitcher plant. It has hairs here on the outside of the pitcher that are downward pointing, and if bugs, insects crawl on here, they'll slide down these hairs, and as they try to walk up, they meet resistance. And if they slide down too far, they end up in a little puddle of water that contains those enzymes, the amylase, the esterase, and the protease that's going to break down the bodies. And actually, you look down in here, you can see a whole host of things that this pitcher plant has already drowned, and it's after and consuming incredible nitrogen resources that are in there. Really cool to see a passive trap like this that is so familiar to so many of us because it has its roots far, far, far to the north.